to Living Out Loud. I have my dad here again with me. And
Hello.
and I wanted to go over some questions that I had seen in my comments over the last two videos that I had posted. And some of these questions are actually really good questions. I had never thought about even people asking these questions, maybe because they may be too scared to ask or they're afraid that it would upset me. So these questions to the people who have asked, thank you for those, and I hope my answers are the answers that you were looking for. So one of the questions was if you could give advice to somebody who is in a wheelchair who struggles to be happy about themselves, what advice could you give? Now, with me being in a wheelchair myself, I would say number one, trust God. You know, not everybody believes in God, but no matter what, trust in God, trust that He has you under His wing and can come to you and say, hey, you know, you are worth more than you think you are. I'm here to help you get through life. And overall, just surround yourself around family who loves you, friends who love you, a community that loves you, that you know that you can rely on. For example, I'm going to use myself. I have a community of family, friends, my teacher at school. All of those people make me feel loved and supported and happy that I know that they are behind me if anything was to go wrong. If I was, to fail in something, they would be there to help me stand myself back up and keep me on my feet and keep going. So that question was actually a really good question. And then another one I saw was how many days were you in the hospital for back when I had explained in my first episode. Like my dad had said, it was 31 days, I believe,
Are we
in total.
Are we talking the surgery or
No, just in the hospital in
when you were
general.
born?
In the hospital in general. So when I was
Oh
born, I'm assuming,
my!
is what she meant.
Consider between the time you were born, all your surgeries, I'd say you probably spent a good 60, 65 days in total in the hospital.
Because I know from, conversation with mom and family and dad that it was for pretty much for the first 5 years straight, I was in and out, technically.
Yeah, there for a while.
There for a while.
I told them jokingly that they needed to name a wing of Levine Children's Center after us. We were there so much.
Mm-hmm. And, being in Levine Children's Hospital, that is an amazing hospital. I love them.
Yes.
They were always so sweet, so nice. They made sure I was comfortable, especially during surgeries. When you're a little kid, you're nervous because, one, they're going to stick you with needles. And if you don't like needles, they have a child life specialist who comes in, kind of distracts you, gives you toys to play with, talks to you, and kind of shows you what they're really going to do. And on like your stuffed animal, you can bring a stuffed animal into the hospital, so they'll show you exactly what they're going to do to you on your stuffed animal. And I remember them decorating my stuffed animal bear in one of the surgery caps, and like a little makeshift gown. So it made it a little less scary for me, because of course, little me, when I was younger, I was always scared. And then another question I remember actually was from my dad, that, what was it again? Because I completely forgot.
Yeah, I asked you this morning. How do you feel having to live with spina bifida? What are your feelings?
That is a good question. I love it. I'm not going to say I don't like it. There are times where I feel like I could give up on, not on life, just like give up chasing my dreams. I feel like sometimes with my wheelchair and living with spina bifida, sometimes, I feel like, okay, well, I can't do this, or there's things that there's things that people say to me that, like, okay, well, you can't do this, you can't be this, you can't be that. I'm going to use nursing as an example because I've used that in previous episodes. The thing with nursing, luckily here, at my school, I have been able to reach out to the nursing section of our school, and they seem very confident that I could be able to do it, thanks to not only everybody believing in me, but thanks to my teacher. She's been a really good help with getting that kind of started and situated. And so I think that, like, I love being in a wheelchair sometimes. There are times that I love it, and sometimes I wish I could walk. Yes, there are times that I wish I could walk, like like
It's understandable.
some people can.
Yeah.
Seeing people that can walk, sometimes it'll kind of make me a little upset, thinking, well, I wish I could do this too. People that can swim on their own, I wish that I could do that too, and not have to use, a life jacket or something to hold me up. That way I don't drown. Now, yes, it's for safety, but sometimes I wish I could be able to just swim on my own and not have to worry about, you know.
Well, you do a good job of treading water, so, but
Well, and
I
it's
get,
because I'm so tiny and so short that, I'm afraid, okay, well, if I was to try it on my own, which I've tried, I'm afraid I'm going to drown and nobody notice,
nah.
even though I'm around people all the
Hell, we
time.
wouldn't let you drown.
And then just overall, like, my experience over the last 20 years, I've loved, like I said. But there, like I had mentioned, there are times where I feel, I'm going to say this, I talked to my teacher today. Sometimes I feel like in class I'm alone, like I don't have very many friends, but it's because I'm also still new, And yes, I have friends in this class, but those are the only three-ish friends I have. And I mean, we sit by each other, we talk to each other, we're partners whenever we do partner work. But in general, sometimes, like, whenever I'm at school, I kind of feel like I'm the oddball in a way, even though I shouldn't. I just sometimes feel like, okay, well, maybe I need to be more outspoken, ask people, hey, do you want to sit with me? Or, hey, let's go get food. Like, during breaks, we can go get snacks. Like, hey, let's, walk to the snack machine and go get snacks. So I have to kind of work on not letting my weakness of thinking that I'm alone or thinking that I'm not really able to be somebody's friend. I have to work on reminding myself you are worth that and you can do that. And I just think sometimes that's the hard part of being in a wheelchair, is not really reminding yourself that you can be that person that is outspoken and be that person, that can make friends and have friends, and I can do things that I put my mind to, whether I think I can or not. So that's another really good thing of, like, I love my experience, and like I said, there are times that I've cried because I kind of wish I could do different things. But overall, I mean, my experience is great. I love it.
Well, that's good. I always wondered. I never asked before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think a lot. You're shy.
that is true.
Believe it or not, folks, she's really shy.
I am.
And I think a lot of your drawback, just from being your dad and being able to see, even most, not just you, but most people with the disability, they tend to be shy because they think they're different. Folks, you're not different. Brittany's not different from me.
Right.
The only thing I can do that she can't is walk.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody is born in God's image, and I don't want this to be a religious thing because we're not going to get into that. But everybody is the same. Everybody should be treated the same. And if you look at it like that, and just go out there and be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you go out there and be
Yeah.
yourself the way you are at home, and at church and with everybody else, you'll have more friends. I mean, well, you already know that because
Yeah.
we'll walk in a Walmart,
Yes.
a Harris Teeter,
Target, anywhere.
She knows everybody in Waxhaw and Union County because somebody's always stopping us to talk to Brittany.
Yes.
So where she ever got she has no friends, I'm really not sure, guys.
Well, and I just think a lot of it too is just like, through middle or elementary school to middle school, I just really have, been thinking about it lately, is like, okay, yes, I had friends, but a lot of them were always the considered mean kids and never really were the nicest to me. Like, I remember one time, back in middle school, we have, like, it's recess, but we call it team time. So it's like where we can, like, go and play, like, basketball or baseball or things like that. And so it's team time, and you can, like, make friends and be friends. Well, during that time, I could never really play or do those things because, of course, it's on a field. So it was more difficult for me to get on that field because it's a really steep hill and it's a bunch of grass. So I always think that, like that maybe was the reason, was because nobody else really was staying near me, and the only person that I had was like my teacher that was staying with me in case like I needed something or whatever. And I just think that, now that, like I said, now that I'm at a school that has opportunities for students with disabilities and students in general, that really like opens my eyes and sees this world in a more positive way. And because yes, this world is a very crazy negative world, and society will make you believe things that aren't true. So I think, being able to have family that loves me and a community of friends and, just family in general that loves me really has helped me understand my experience as it's not a bad one. It's more of a, it's a good one. And I have, for instance, my dad and my parents, they've been the absolute best over the past 20 years.
Well, thank you.
They've been the absolute best.
We're partial.
So I think, with my experience, like I said, there have been ups and downs, and there have been times where I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to chase my dream that I want to do because I don't think I can, but in reality, I can. And that's a part that I have to realize. I have to look at it more positively than more negatively. And I think I need to start kind of working on that a little bit more, is just looking at this world, as a more positive world, and that there are people out there who inspire, that aspire to be somebody like me. Like I want to be that positive, inspiring impact of people's lives. I want to be somebody who inspires others. And I want to be able to have people, this podcast is just, overall, like my experience with this disability, but also I want it to inspire other people without a disability to realize that we are human too, and that we have a quality of life, and that we're not what society tells us we are. So that's another main reason why I wanted to do this as well. And my experience, like I was talking about, has been amazing. I've loved it, and I don't wish that I could change it at all whatsoever. So
well, good answer. I'm glad I asked.
So
Very
any other
answer.
questions you have?
No, I think you're doing a great job here. I want to thank the people that help you, and
Yes.
thank you for having me again today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Much.
I appreciate you being here.
You've seen me enough, so I'm surprised you actually asked me to be on here. But thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being here. But
thank you
guys for watching, and I will see you again soon.